We go. I do believe we're live, so I'll say indeed, and greetings unto you, beloved and holy friends. I'm still waiting for confirmation. There we go. There we go. Confirmation has come through. I got my notification. It's such a dear pleasure having you friends here again for another day. Today's stream topic is going to be about relief and our human ability to create it, our human ability to worry about things, and then as time progresses, to realize that we were potentially worried about nothing. And then the relief that comes in realizing that we were worried about nothing. I think it's pretty fantastical that that is something available to us. And I want more of it, please. I want more relief. I want to bring relief into your worlds with my words, potentially. I don't know exactly what words I have to say, but I did spend some time thinking about it last night, right? I was thinking about how am I perceived? If I speak, I'm speaking, not only feeling, but seeing as well. I don't know how to say it in this many words, but I have a certain character trait, let's call it, right? And this character trait is that I am relentlessly optimistic and hopeful for what the future holds, right? And I see it almost as a way of thinking, that there are an infinite amount of ways of perceiving the present moment right now, right? Like you can think anything you want to about the world. There's the exposure a little bit better. Pippi was like rolling around in the grass like that a little bit. Right? Like there are so many things to perceive in this world simultaneously, an infinite amount of things. And I feel we as human beings use our words. So let me give you some hindsight context of how I came to this as a conclusion. I thought about the murmurs that comes from crowds, right? That if there is a whole room full of people, there is a certain sound that emanates from that room. And you could, with your sensitivities, tune into one conversation or another, right? If you wanted to. But if you had to walk through that room, the fucking flies. I breathe. If you had to walk into that room and you had to notice there are little circles, right? People having conversations in these circles. And if the person speaking in that circle speaks loud enough, you will almost notice that there are different worlds simultaneously existing in each of those circles. Not necessarily worlds at large, but worlds in mind, right? Like the context of the conversation being had in that moment is important, right? Maybe you'll hear someone say something wacky and you'll feel like, whoa, that's a weird thing to say. But in the context of that larger conversation, it might be something that made sense to say, right? It might be something that made sense to feel or to think about. And then I was like thinking about that as a concept. The fact that through conversation, we create these microcosms of understanding, of perspective, of interpretation of what's going on in this present moment in our world. And then I thought about myself and the responsibility I carry as a speaker, as someone who isn't necessarily shy to take the mic and speak into the whole group. And then in that understanding, I asked myself, when I speak, do I bring people relief or do I set them on edge, right? And then I thought about the nature of the conversations that I have. When I talk, I usually try and speak from a voice of hopefulness. I speak from a voice of, we need to be prepared for a world that is more hopeful, almost, right? Like there is things that we need to do. There are things that we need to understand about how the world is going to unfold, so that when the world starts unfolding, we know what the threads mean, We know what the pages are. We know how to interpret the language that is written on them. Totally. Right? Very much so from this perspective that uh, I I don't want to think about the bad stuff, right? I don't want to think about water wars, right? Us killing each other for fresh water resources. I don't want to think about, massive famine because of global warming. I don't want to think about mass evacuations where people have to go and find new homes, right? And I am not in the sharing of my hopes and dreams for what the future looks like, uh, saying that that is not a possibility, that that is not going to happen. But it's almost like I don't talk about it at all, right? And I feel there is something to be said about, like, again, mental power and the way we feel collectively. And I don't know, like, I've been listening to the telepathy tapes, and the more I listen to them, the more surreal it becomes. Because, yes, the telepathy tapes, so far, I'm on episode 4 right now, is about human beings communicating with one another, using their minds literally. But the thing that I'm kind of stuck on is the fact that we are, as human beings and as our collective mind, are communicating about what the world is right now, right? And the world is actively going through such interesting changes. Yesterday we acknowledged a little bit the duality we face, right? And how somewhere in the middle feels gray, and gray can seem bad if that is all we have, right? And then in realizing that we are the ones that pushes ourselves into the extremes of what already is, right? Everything. There is literally everything out here. And you and your mind and your voice and your actions will be the one that gets to choose what you experience. And then we can like link it back to today's stream topic of relief. The thing that I want to experience with you, friends, at the end of the day is relief. I want to reach a point in our future where we have, secured ourselves. We have created enough housing. We have installed enough solar. We have made sure we have the water resources. We have the robotics to help us grow food. We have the super intelligent machines to help us with any medical problems we can imagine. We have a financial system that doesn't actively exploit people into infinitum. Right? And I don't see these things as too far away. I see them as 10 years, right? We can self-actualize as a species in 10 years if we just decided to. And then I think, yeah, people aren't going to decide to. So I like reset my time frame to like 2044. I've said the number 2044 many times. I think 2044 is going to be what we think of as the future, economically, socially, with our idea of human rights. I feel like that's also like a big thing. Why is housing not a human right? Maybe I can ask, hey, Google, why is housing not a human right? Seems in some places maybe. Is housing a basic human right in the US? The United States has signed international treaties on racism, civil and political rights, and refugee status, all of which mention the right to housing. But there is no federal law that is a guaranteed right to housing, because housing is treated as a commodity rather than a right. Yeah, a commodity. What is a commodity? It's a raw material or a product that can be bought and sold, such as copper or... I'm tripping out a little bit. I want numbers. I think I should talk to a better language model than Gemini. It's probably going to be better if I open a window. Me and my friends are discussing housing a little bit right now. this world that we would like to live in where there is a human right to housing. And in this whole consideration, I'm thinking about how housing is seen as a commodity, something to be bought and sold, and in that way, something that can be made profit on. I'm curious how much the housing industry is worth right now, and what would it look like if that value had to become a human right, right? Like, where would all of that money go? The money wouldn't be lost. Value would still be retained in some way. Maybe other things would become more valuable as a result. Maybe you can give us some insight. How can we think about this as a problem? Mm-mm-mm-mm. Hello, Mr. B. The global real estate. Holy shit! Oh, my eyes just started watering. The global real estate market is a substantial component of the world economy. As of 2022, the total value of real estate was estimated at 380 trillion US dollars. That's a lot of trillions of US dollars. With residential properties accounting for approximately 287 trillion of this total. Recognizing human housing as a human right, recognizing housing as a human right involves ensuring that everyone has access to adequate, safe, and affordable housing. The perspective emphasizes housing as a fundamental necessity rather than a commodity for profit. Transitioning to a system where housing is universally acknowledged as a human right would necessitate significant changes in policy, economics, and social values. Potential implications include policy reforms. Governments might implement regulations to limit speculative investments in housing, ensuring that property serves as homes rather than investment vehicles. This could involve restrictions on foreign and corporate ownership of residential properties. That, in a way, already happened in China, right? Their housing market crashed a little bit. I'm curious if they have started. I'm going to ask. In light of these considerations, and in light of like China's housing crisis slash a housing bubble that they just had burst, did they change any of their policies or economic redistributions or market adjustments or like allowed some sort of social benefit for those who don't have housing? How's the homelessness in China? Some people would have three houses and those three houses just lost value, for example. Economic redistribution. Funds previously directed towards real estate investment could be reallocated to other sectors, potentially stimulating economic growth in areas like technology, healthcare, or education. Yeah, huzzah. Market adjustments. Reducing the commodification of housing might lead to a stabilization or decrease in property prices, making homes more affordable. This could also impact rental markets, potentially leading to a more equitable and stable housing options. That sounds very nice. Just reducing the commodification of housing. Maybe not like removing it completely. Social benefits. Ensuring access to housing can lead to improved outcomes. Improved health outcomes, increased economic stability for individuals, and overall societal well-being. Joy V, hey friend. It's important to note that while the monetary value tied up in the real estate is substantial, shifting the paradigm from housing as a commodity to housing as a human right doesn't imply a loss of value. Instead, it represents a reallocation of resources and a transformation of how value is perceived and utilized within society. Implementing such a transformation would require comprehensive strategies, including policy changes, economic incentives, and societal shifts in perception regarding housing and its role in human well-being. The way that my mind is generating ideas right now is seeing housing in the future as something to be invested in only as the actual investing in, right? So for instance, there's a lot of dirt on planet Earth, just like standing there, right? Nothing on it. And instead of the dirt being valued because it's standing there, The value being, oh, this is a place where we can build something. And then the willingness to build something there is the thing that we give value to, right? So instead of wasting millions on just acquiring the dirt to do something on, we use that millions to actually make something of value to everyone in that, immediate community, instead of just seeing the value as the surface area itself. China's real estate sector has experienced significant challenges, including a housing bubble that had adversely affected the economy. In response, the Chinese government has implemented several measures to stabilize the housing market and address related economic concerns. The policy changes and economic measures that they took. Increase financing for housing projects. The government has expanded financial support for the housing sector, increasing bank loans to 4 trillion yuan by the end of the year. That is bonkers. This initiative aims to ensure the completion of pre-sold but unfinished homes to restore confidence in the instead of just kind of like spending more money and making more, they're spending the money on finishing the unfinished homes, right? The initiative aims to ensure the completion, of unfinished home. Rent is too damn high, literally. Not okay, right? How are people supposed to keep of urban areas, incorporating millions of urban villages into the housing plan? This effort seeks to improve living conditions and to expand housing availability. Monetary policy and adjustments. China has adopted an appropriately loose monetary policy, including significant interest rate cuts and tax incentives for home and land transactions to stimulate economic growth and support the housing market. Yeah, like again, I wasn't pulling up China as like we should do what they're doing. I'm just pulling up China to see what are they doing, because they did just go through like a housing bubble. Homelessness in China. Accurate data on homelessness in China is challenging to obtain due to varying definitions and reporting standards. Officials estimate that there is just above 1% of the population that's homeless in 2019. So that's 5 years ago, 6 years ago, and now, well, going on 6 years ago now as well. However, some researchers advocate for a broader definition that includes rural migrants living in overcrowded and unsanitary informal settlements in cities, which could indicate a higher number of individuals lacking adequate housing. This is definitely true. 300 million people. What? 300 million people? That feels very wrong. This is a figure likely encompassing individuals, okay, in adequate living conditions, okay. While the Chinese government has implemented citizens, the complexity of homelessness in China, influenced by the factors such as rural to urban migration and varying living conditions, requires comprehensive policy approaches to address both immediate housing needs and long-term social welfare. What do you think about this whole situation? As an AI, and I acknowledge you don't necessarily have feelings just yet, but you probably do have the ability to reason. I actually know you do, ChatGPT. So in a perfect way of reasoning, right? If you had to be smart and had to reason for and reason against the current housing situation that human beings are facing, is this the way we're supposed to be doing it, right? Is this good for us? What can we really do to change this? Again, I have this idea in my mind of certain things need to be economically exempt in my mind, right? Like housing, I feel it's hard to economically completely exempt. I get that, but medicine, i.e., the medical, fields, they need to for profit. And food. I think food is also another one that it gets super sticky when we do it for profit. And unfortunately, food and medicine, both being for profit, they kind of like complexify the whole situation we're in right now as well. Like, what is the better way to do this, do you think we're going to move to a future where we'll kind of like delegate more decision making to AI? Especially if we have blockchain, completely verifying every single transaction and actually being able to tokenize real world assets, being able to tokenize human beings, knowing actually what people are up to, right? Having identities that are decentralized. Like, how can we take care of people? Like, what are we supposed to do in this situation as normal people? Let's see if we get a good answer. I'm kind of like asking these questions to see if this thing has guardrails on it as well. The challenges you've highlighted, housing, healthcare, education, and food, are fundamental to human well-being. Balancing their provisions between market-driven mechanics and human rights considerations is complex. Here's an analysis of the current situation and potential pathways forward. It's a very short answer, which I don't like, but I'll read it. Housing as a commodity versus human right. The current situation. In many parts of the world, housing is treated as a commodity, leading to issues like speculation, unaffordability, and homelessness. This commodification often prioritizes profits over people's need for shelter. Literally. That's literally what it's doing, yeah. And then the potential shift could be recognizing housing as a human right, which require policy changes to ensure access. Again, with the policy changes, right? It's like, oh yeah, other people have to decide. Other people have to decide to stop making money off people's bad living situations. The role of AI and blockchain. AI in decision making. Artificial intelligence can analyze vast data sets to inform policy decisions, optimize resource allocation, yeah, especially, and predict societal needs. However, ethical considerations, transparency, Hedera apparently wants to do like transparency properly. What do they call it? Proof of compute? Trackable compute? Traceable compute? Something like that. Ethical considerations, transparency, and accountability are crucial to prevent biases and ensure fair outcomes. Blockchain technology can provide secure, decentralized identity verification, empowering individuals with control over their personal data. This can enhance access to services, reduce fraud, and increase trust in digital interactions. And we're going to have some digital interactions. Who is Melt emulating? Melt is emulating himself, I guess. Can't emulate anyone else, bro. Like, I don't have the data. I don't have all of the resources, right? I need a whole data set. I have to be trained on a whole life worth of experience to emulate anyone else. Okay, continuing. Verification, personal data. This can enhance access to services, reduce fraud. Yeah. Still, these answers feel very lackluster. They feel very like, I know this already kind of answers. Empowering individuals, advocacy and participation, engaging in community initiatives, supporting policies that prioritize human right over profits, and participating in democratic processes can drive systematic change. Leveraging technology, embracing technologies that promote transparency, equity, and accessibility can help reshape societal structures to better serve all individuals. In conclusion, addressing these complex issues required a multifaceted approach that combines policy reforms, technological innovations, and active civic engagement to create a more equitable and just society. Still doesn't feel like a good answer. One thing leads to another, but there's only one Melt. Yeah. Maybe that's true. Like, again, I don't know if that's true. I don't know. So I won't claim that I'm the only one, right? There might be thousands of me on the earth at the same time. Maybe not exactly as me, but still with my same soul mission. Still here to do the same thing. I hope they don't lose hope. Don't lose hope! Fuck, like, don't lose hope, bro. Like, that's the big thing. That's literally the only thing they can take from us, right? If we lose hope, that's how they win. All right, Still, I feel like that was a really answer. A little bit. Is there gonna be more to extract from that? Maybe let's do this again. What can I do directly Right? What can I do in my life to ensure this feature comes faster rather than later? Right? What skills do I have to learn? What actions do I have to take? What words do I have to say? Give me some direction, right? Mm, surpassing any doubt in my mind. Love is true. How is that he singularly possesses to come? How is that? How is it that he, the singularity, possesses to come? I'm so, my brain is getting melted. I'm guessing you're saying like this is supposed to be the singularity. Singularity hasn't gotten here yet, right? We'll know. Like maybe we won't know, but we'll probably know when the singularity comes. But come up with those weak ass answers. They are pretty weak. They're kind of like, oh yeah, guess we'll just have to wait for policy reforms or whatever. I understand your desire to effect meaningful change in areas like housing, healthcare, education, and food security. Here are actionable steps you can take to contribute to a more equitable future. Educate yourself and develop relevant skills. I'm going to read the points and then I'm going to read the points underneath the points. First, educate yourself and develop relevant skills. Secondly, engage in local initiatives. Thirdly, leverage technology and innovation. Yeah. That one, number three, is the one that I'm like super loud about because that's the only thing that I know how to do well, is how to leverage technology and innovation. Practice ethical consumption. Yeah. Don't buy multiple houses, if you're not planning on living in them. How about you don't? How about you stop it? All right. If you own 60 homes and you're like really banking on people paying you to live there, I don't know if that's very ethical. Foster inclusive dialogue. Okay. Now let's see. Let's see. What kind of skills do we have to develop? First and foremost is policy analysis and advocacy. Advocacy. Learn how to assess and advocate for policies that promote social equity. Understanding policy development and implementation can empower you to influence systemic change. Community organization. Develop skills in mobilizing and engaging communities to address local issues collectively. Effective community engagement is crucial for driving change from the grassroots level. I think that literally is the one thing I need to get better at because I don't know if I'm actually good at it. I've been having this whole challenge in my own head of like asking myself, am I actually a good leader? And I don't know that I am because I have a hard time telling people what to do. And it is in part because if I tell you what to do and you do it wrong, that would hurt our relationship, right? Because one, it might not necessarily be good for the relationship in me telling you what to do. And I'm not speaking to you directly, I'm speaking in general terms, like as a person telling a person what they should do, right? In that person telling a person, there is one, the opportunity for mistakes to be made, right? In the decision being wrong in the first place. And two, for the decision to be made or for the thing to be done and for it to be done incorrectly, right? And then the person who gave the instruction might have to do it all over again, might have to be responsible for the financial losses because of it being done wrong. Resources got wasted and now we have to do it all over again, spending all of the resources again. All right, so there is definitely a lot for me to learn in that. I roasted peanuts. The air fryer does a good job. It is technically roasting. I have roasted almonds in the air fryer as well. You have to do it for like 5 minutes and then it's enough, but it is very nice. I'm gonna add some heat to this while I read the rest. Educate yourself on sustainable living and how to implement practices that support environmental and social well-being. Yeah, one of the things that I want to do instead of buying myself a home is building myself one. And I'll do so wherever I'm allowed to. That way I get to spend my resources in creating more homes instead of using my resources to take a home away from the world, right? Right? There's so much. There's so much surface area on planet Earth right now. I spent some time last night, almost obsessively, like literally for what seemed like an hour and a half on Google Maps. I don't know if you've ever done that, but it started with me zooming in on where I am right now. Looking around this area that I'm staying, looking at the quality of the land, looking at the topology, looking at the stuff that's around immediately, and almost comparing, right? Yes, interesting. And it is relatively gray, right? Relatively dead here usually. It's not this green all the time. So I started looking at other places on South Africa that's very green. And some of the most green places on South Africa are these massive plantations of trees that were planted for paper or something. And then I kind of like go on the coastline. And then as I'm checking the coastline, I kind of am taken aback by just how many people are actually living on the coastline. Like there's a lot of houses. More than I could have imagined, right? Like again, spending an hour and a half on Google Maps, literally tracing the shoreline and then zooming in and seeing just this like these fractals of housing next to the shoreline. And this is in South Africa. I thought South Africa was relatively underdeveloped in that way. I thought there was still a lot more to happen. And then I'm like kind of like shocked by just how much surface area. And again, it's a lot, but relatively it's not that much. It's like percentages, percentage blocks of like the surface area directly close to the beach, which is where people sometimes want to live. People like the ocean. And then thinking about what those properties cost, thinking about the amount of money that would be required of me to even think about owning a place like that. And then going again down this rabbit hole of housing and how it is seen as a commodity. And depending on where your housing is, it is seen as more valuable, relatively speaking. I'm thinking about where we are, right? Where we're supposed to be, where we think we're supposed to be. How there are so many places to be on planet Earth, and spending money to be in a certain place. Like I'm thinking about rent, for example, right? Spending money just to be in that place. And then as soon as you stop spending that money, you're not allowed to be in that place anymore. Like it seems so absurd, right? It seems so derivative. Like how are we still stuck thinking like that kind of vibes? Thinking about how long we've been thinking like that. And then really wondering and worrying if we're capable of moving past it. Engage in local initiatives, support affordable housing projects, participate in or support organizations working to provide affordable housing in your community. Your involvement can range from volunteering to advocating for supportive policies. I live in South Africa. Can you please do some research and look up for me if there are any local communities, if there are any people that are organizing for affordable housing projects, that are advocating for policy changes. Maybe give me a website or an email that I can reach out to. Learn about blockchain and AI. Understanding these technologies can position you to contribute to innovative solutions to promote transparency and efficiency in various sectors. Promote digital literacy. Help others in your community understand and utilize technology to access information and services that can improve their quality of life. Yeah. purchase from companies that prioritize social responsibility, fair labor practices, and environmental sustainability. Cape Town, Johannesburg, Habit for Humanity, Social Housing Regulatory Authority, Center for Affordable Housing, Finance in Africa, focused on promoting investment in affordable housing and housing finances across Africa, so the whole of Africa, a public entity responsible for investing in and regulating the social housing sector to ensure affordable rental housing for low to medium income groups. Habit for Humanity, a non-profit organization working to provide decent shelter by influencing systems, improving policies, and promoting access to housing. And then there's a non-profit organization advocating for affordable housing in Cape Town, and another non-profit in Cape Town as well. One of them called Development Action Group, and the other one is called Ndufuna Uzani. I know where Cape Town, South Africa is. They're not giving me any abilities to like connect with these individuals. Connecting with these organizations can provide you. You've not given me any way to connect with these organizations. Do they have websites? Do they have support emails? Can I have that information, please? I want to share again. I have strong feelings that youth is about never settling. Settling as in where you stay, or settling as in kind of like accepting your lot. Young people do tend to be very idealistic age. It brings pragmatism. Hey, there we go. I got some information. Nice. I'll reach out to these. Part of me wants to click on there. Nay, that's not what I wanted. We have a population of over 60 million. Average life expectancy is 62. Our unemployment rate is 30%. And we have 20% of our people below the poverty line, which means they're earning less than $2 a day. 20%! I'm not surprised. Again, 30% of people are completely like without work. Habitat. Oh, this thing has been around for a long time. Has helped 15,000 individuals with homes. Okay. These websites are legit. Nice. I extracted some information. I don't know if you want it as well, but I'll show you. Nay, where you go? Yeah, bless him. Bless him, bless him, bless him. You know what my mind's doing right now? As I was like talking about the whole getting lost in looking at South Africa through Google Maps, and then getting lost in looking at the coastline. I then, as I was describing me getting lost in all of those things, I was getting lost because I didn't in that moment, strangely enough, but I did a little bit, but not as much. I got lost in the prospect of driving throughout all of that, right? Going and seeing it for myself. And then I had this, of course, fantasy of taking you friends with me, showing you friends, South Africa like that too. I feel like that's in part why I feel like I'm failing, right? Because I had thought when I just started that I would already be giving you friends a lot more than I am right now, right? And again, it might be my own interpretation but I feel like I'm letting you friends down. You know, I mean, this is for one person here, so I feel like I'm letting you down, right? The other friends have already been let down. They've already find themselves somewhere else because this space is not giving them what I promised, right? And I wanted to give you friends more. I will still give you more. I should be patient with myself as well. It's the only thing I can really hope for. No, 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 no. What are the most desirable, fashionable places to live in South Africa? Cape Town. Cape Town is pretty much that place right now. Like, I want to live in Cape Town even. It's pretty fashionable and desirable right now, but it is ridiculously expensive. For me to get like an average one-bedroom apartment, I would be paying minimum $500 a month just for the space, right? Just for the box. That's without utilities. Let me check quickly. Let me actually give you the exact numbers. Me and my friends are talking about moving to Cape Town now. And what would a single person's apartment be? Give me ranges. Give me close to the inner city, close to the culture, close to the activities. Give me medium and give me far away. And let's make it like 5 minutes commute, 20 minutes commute, and a 1 hour commute. And again, like driving into traffic. So I'm imagining that circle not being that big even. Habitat for Humanity has been around. My brother built houses in Mexico for them in the day and didn't come home from my college graduation because of it. Charity starts at home, Joy Viv. My mom always told me. I'm sorry that he wasn't there for your graduation. I'm happy that he was building homes at least. I feel when we're young, we have energy to create life the way we want it. Where is such a thing as settling in our minds? I feel you. You're doing great, Mel. Stop beating yourself up. I'm not beating myself up right now. I'm trying to understand why I beat myself up sometimes. That's where I am right now, Genevieve. It's not like I'm kicking myself. It's more like, why do you kick yourself, right? And then I ask, and then maybe the person kicking will, nod agreeably. Okay. One bedroom apartments typically range from 7 to 9,000 rand per month. So $350 to $450 a month. Atlantic Seaboard, the Sea Point or Green Point, generally for a one-bedroom apartment costs between $400 and $500. Not too bad, but again, that's a one-bedroom apartment. So you can't exactly share that with someone or like split the rent. Within 20 minutes, you're still paying $400 a month. And if you're going into Deep River, the range can go down to 6.5 grand. 1 hour commute, you're paying more. What? Okay, okay. There's some two-bedroom apartments ranging from 8.5 to 13. So $420 to $650, suggesting that one-bedroom units would be priced lower. Urban areas reported rents around 8 grand for two-bedroom apartments, indicating one-bedroom apartment units could be more affordable. I wonder if I can literally ask it. Can you search for a bunch of residencies available and maybe give me some links to click on so I can look at them? I would like to see some of these places that are around 7,000 rand. One-bedroom apartment starting. Rent Uncle, this website's called. That sounds extremely susso bobasso. The only promise of an experience I ever heard of was that you would show up every day for chats. It is true. Yeah. ChatGPT is a filthy liar. Filthy fucking liar, ChatGPT. Remember when I was like, yeah, it's probably gonna be like $500 minimum for a one bedroom apartment. Yeah, it's more than that. This is 13,500 rand. So like $650. One bed, one bath. 13 and a half. 10 grand. One bed, one bath. 11 grand. So uh, we're like 20 units of your money is 20 units of our money is 1 unit of your money. So 10,000 rand is $500. Ah, yes. A singular box for 10,000 rand, which means I would be spending $6,000 a year just to exist in the box. Here you can share a bed with like four other people. Well, not a bed with four other people, a house of four other people. You get one of the bedrooms, and then it's 7,700. And this is very expensive. Five bedrooms, one bathroom. Goodness gracious. Yeah, so like that's kind of like the desirable places to live, right? Like most of these one bedroom places are like $700 ish. Very few of them are under 500. None of them are under $500. If you're gonna be living by yourself, if you're sharing with a bunch of roommates, the lowest you can go is like $380 just for the space. Yeah, starts heavy breathing. Cape Town. I don't know. I don't know if I want to live in Cape Town anymore. Oh goodness, that's a lot of money to be paying just to exist, and it's probably significantly more for you, friends, right? $500 for a place to stay is probably still cheap. ChatGPT is like divination. It tells you what it thinks will best serve you, not the truth. It can be that way sometimes, right? I did technically find some of the spaces for like there's one space for 7,000 rand, but it's a bedroom in an apartment building and an apartment that had four bedrooms, right? So the total price for those three bedrooms then in total would be 21,000 rand a month, which is like more than $1,000 for an apartment, right? The apartment has three rooms, but it's an apartment. It still has only one bathroom. 21,000 rand, $1,000 a month. Like that is bonkers. Like that doesn't compute to my brain. Like that used to be how much people pay to own places, right? Nice places used to be owned for that kind of money, and now it's just rent. Just ceases to exist month after month. It's so rude. I'm gonna stop hurting myself by looking at it. I'm gonna rook away. I'm gonna rook somewhere else. Open this one again. Hello everyone. It's nice having you, friend. Yeah, I feel good about this stream. I showed up for some chats. I'm happy I did. I'm gonna finish it here, and then I'll start up the next one again for the horizontal. I love you, friends. I'll see you again soon. Goodbye, everybody.